Problem solving. Finding what percent the part is of the total. We're going to look at a video of an auction that took place in Texas. And then we're going to make a percentage problem out of this video. Let's take a look. This is a Texas cattle auction. Ranchers raise the cattle and then bring the cattle to the auction house to be auctioned off. Buyers come and purchase these cattle and then fatten them up in feedlots. If the auction house has received 1,264 head of cattle, and of that total, 158 came from one rancher, what percentage of the cattle came from that one rancher? Let's find out the percentage. Note carefully what the problem is asking. What percentage of cattle came from this one rancher? So we want to find the percent. So we cover this up in this percent circle. This is what we want to find. So now all we have to do is find the part and the total. The part is cattle came from one rancher is 158. So that's the P. And the total that auction had in the bins was 1,264. So that's 1,264. Now we want to take this fraction and make it into a decimal, and then take that decimal and put it into a percent. That's what it's asking for. What percentage? So let's divide now 158 by 1264. We know that doesn't go into 158, so we have to add a decimal and a 0. And that will go in one time into that number, 1264. Let's deduct that. That'd be 6. This is 1. That's 3. Bring down a 0. And we'll put the number over here. That'd be 1 time. How many times does that number go in? We just take the two numbers here, 12, 24, probably 2 times. 1264 times 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12. 1, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Let's subtract 2, 5, 2, 8. That would be 2, be 3. That would be 6. Again, that would be 2 times over here. Bring down another 0. And how many times would 12 go into these two numbers? Looks like 5 times. So let's try 5. 1264 times 5. That's 20. 32. 5 times 10 is 13. That'd be 6. Same number, so minus 6320 equals 0. 5. So it's 0.125. And remember, all we have to do to find out percentage is 0.125 is move it over 2 places. So it'll be 12.5%. Or we could say, we can convert this. We know that 0.5 is a half, or it could be also written 12.5%. So the rancher, by bringing 158 cattle, he brought 12.5% of the cattle. And I know the number, that 0.125, is actually 1/8. 1/8 of all the cattle in that ranch came from that rancher. And you can do that again in your head. We know that 1/4 is 250, and a half of 250 is 0.125, and a half of 1/4 is an eighth, and they're all equivalent. 12.5%, 0.125, or 1/8 of a fraction, they're all equivalent. And so the percentage that this one rancher brought to that rancher to be auctioned off was 12.5%. You own Wilderness Horseback Adventure. Let's take a trip with them and look at the sights. You own 20 horses, and you take groups down the valley to view the beautiful landscapes. You have to take care of the horses and pay the guides. Your average sales for the day come to $2,480, and the cost for the guides and taking care of the horses average $1,860. What percent is the cost for operating Wilderness Horseback Adventure? Let's figure it out. All right, the Wilderness Horseback Adventure, the cost came to $1,860 to operate that horseback adventure, and the earnings were $2,480. The question is, what percentage is the cost for operating Wilderness Horseback Adventure? And to figure out the percent of the cost, we have to divide the part, which is $1,860, by $2,480. And that will give us the percent of the cost. So we divide then 1,860 by $2,480. So we can remove the zero here. And so now we divide 186 by 248. Now we know it doesn't go in, 248 does not go into 186. So we're going to have to use this zero. So I'll just erase that mark that I put in there. Put the decimal point over here. That looks about 7 times, so it's 248 times 7. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 5 is 33. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 3 is 17. 1736. Put a 7 over here. Borrow 1 from the 6. 6 from 10 is 4. 3 from 5 is 2. And 7 from 8 is 1. Bring down a 0. That looks like it would go 5 times. 248 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 4. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So that's 1240. That makes this 0. And this is 5. So what percent is the cost for operating Wilderness Horseback Adventure? 0.75, and you get the percentage. 0.75, and all we have to do is move the decimal point 2 places to get the percentage, and it'd be 75%. So the operating cost for Wilderness Horseback Adventure is 75%. Or we could say 25% profit. The costs are 75% and the profits are 25%. So, but the question is, what percent is the cost for operating the Wilderness Horseback Adventure? And that would be 75%.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workflow. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.